Gene Hallman, he's part of Bruno Event Team, which is kind of a big part of helping organize the USFL in Birmingham situation. Well, he joined three-man front on WJOX sometime this week after the announcement in Birmingham. And I mean, this dude dropped some interesting nuggets. So I'm going to skip the first bullet here real quick. We're going to talk about the player selection. Then we're going to jump into the really crazy one, at least the one in my opinion. But so a lot of people wonder, the draft pool or the player selection pool, the portal, whatever you want to call it, how many guys are in there? We've heard rumors in the past. I think I heard 800 people. We heard 8,000, blah, blah, blah. It looks like, at least according to him, as of now, we have about 3,000 players in that pool. And I mean, that's a healthy pool, if you ask me. Now, more interesting, he mentions that there should be about 5 or 6 high-profile players that are, what he says, instantly recognizable on each team. So it's not going to happen, but we've already saw one of the coaches reach out to an Antonio Brown, right? And so
right.
I feel like we are going to get that surprise. There's going to be a guy in here that we're like, oh my God, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? And I don't know who those guys are going to be. I don't have any inkling of who they're going to be, but I expect at minimum, we're going to probably see some high profile people from the XFL. We'll probably see some people maybe jump from the CFL. And we're absolutely going to see people that had experience in the NFL. I mean, it's inevitable. We saw it in the spring league. We're going to see it in the USFL. But more importantly, I think he's right. I think we're going to get a couple of those surprise players that at least bring that recognition factor for the league. If somebody's tuning in April 16th or is just flipping through the channels, they see the USFL, and that at least catches their attention to watch the game, and they turn it on and stick with it for a couple minutes. And then they see a guy that they recognize and say, oh, wow, this isn't just like AAA league, right? This is, I know these people. Hey, I know Jeff Fisher. Oh, I know Mike Riley maybe, or I know this player. That's only good for the league. And it seems like we're heading down that path.
Yeah. I mean, Bruno even has mentioned at times on the afternoon stretch that, there are guys that are XFL guys that are in this. So that also adds, maybe you do see someone that is recognizable from the XFL. And, I have faith in that. That's now is multiple reports that you have at least guys that, if you're a football fan or a diehard in that stretch, that you'll be able to recognize and go, okay, I see what they're playing with. And they're going to announce these rosters, before they go to play. I mean, they're going to get drafted February 22nd, 23rd, and we'll learn about the teams. I mean, they're going to post them on their website. They should.
I would assume they will.
I mean, they're hiring social and media guys right now. That was put out this week too. So that effort is going to ramp up once they get down there. It's been bare bones. We know that, but that's going to come out. You'll recognize. It sounds like you'll recognize folks, and you'll get to look at that list too. And I like it. I at least it sounds like we're getting a positive vibe on the football operations. That has been consistent so far. Football operations getting at least a thumbs up. Not gonna give them 2 yet because I haven't gotten more proof and I need assistance and all that. But at least a good thumbs up has been showed for those that have been talking about how this is working with that element. The roster size, okay, that's been one that's like, well, what do you do? 45 is small. 7 of those are practice squad. 38, that's your main squad. The NFL roster is 53. The XFL roster below that,
45 or 48. I think it was 45.
I think it's one of the two, and I know it was in the 40 range. So it's a lower one. You'll get about 400 plus players total in the league to start. But at least they have a reference.
Yeah, I mean, it's a starting point. It worked for the spring league. I think it'll work for these guys here.
Absolutely. Let's get the final point, though, in this. The one that kind of, I think, was a slight head turner, and I know from what we were clarified was somewhat mentioned back in the summer, but I think just got re-mentioned. Everyone goes, wait a minute, what? They, at some way, shape, or form, Fox execs had mentioned that A-Rod either was or is currently interested in ownership of the Generals. At least in some way, they maybe either they talked to him or like kind of nudged him on the side there or put him in a spot. The story that Hallman puts down is kind of that's how they played it out. Is they kind of quickly showed and talked to him about it, almost like a social thing in a way.
Right.
But I mean, they want guys that, have backing. I mean, the idea is they're going to sell these.
Oh, sure.
At some point, except it'll be like the MLS where they're the central office. You're a franchise in terms of you run the operations, but you report back to the folks who are in the main offices. Mm-hmm. So they want people that have some decent capital. A-Rod is he's not just a ex-baseball player anymore. Dude is invested in many different avenues of income. The guy has some wealth.
Straight up. And you know what this shows, though? And this is, again, going back to a little bit of the doom and gloom that we see on the internet. This shows that the USFL and Fox and that leadership team is working on all sorts of things in the background that we could have no idea about. I mean, the fact that at least there's a somewhat confirmation that they reached out to A-Rod, or A-Rod, they had a discussion. There's right. Confirmation there. That, I mean, again, speculation zone.
Speculation zone. Here we go.
I think this is where we're going. Speculation zone. I mean, what that tells me is that's not the only one they talk to. I mean, it would be silly to, we're going to talk to A-Rod and that's it. We're only talking to one guy. And I wonder, like, if they're talking to people, who the rest of those people are, right? We were talking about this in the pre-show. If I'm looking at the Michigan Panthers, there's one name that everybody in Michigan, especially in that Detroit area, is going to recognize, and that's the Ilitch family. Now, it's a shame that Mike Ilitch isn't around anymore, but I'll tell you, he would have jumped at the opportunity to own a football team. Case in point, if the Lions ever went for sale and Mike Ilitch was still alive, he would have bought them in a second. He wanted to buy the Pistons, too. He would have bought... Mike Ilitch loved the city of Detroit. He put so much... It's a shame that he never won a World Series with the Tigers. When they won in 84, that was under Monahan with the Dominoes. And then they ended up selling to Little Caesars, funny enough. Never got it. He did get plenty of Stanley Cup championships, though. And I'll tell you, the love and care that he put into both those teams. I mean, I remember them both when the Tigers lost, I think, 119 games in a season. The Wings were like just god-awful. And, I mean, he made them both competitive teams. Again, Tigers never won a World Series, but we got plenty of Stanley Cup championships out of the Red Wings. And, I mean, although Mike Ilitch isn't around anymore, the Ilitch family is still, like, they are the kings of Detroit. And if I look at who should own a team in Michigan and what would get the most positive results, I look at something like the Ilitch family. If the Ilitches bought in on a USFL franchise, everybody in Detroit is instantly on board for their name recognition value alone. Now, we did see with the AAF, people joke. I think it was Eminem even joked that he was going to buy a franchise in the AAF.
Yes. That was looking back, that is hilarious to think about.
Right. And
with how that league kind of crashed and burned after its big week one launch. And I football was good. Football was good. Just finances were terrible. But like Charlie Ebersol was the one that was saying, "Hey Eminem, what are you thinking, man?" So hey, I don't know. They won't. I mean, if they're talking A-Rod, and they're talking to. They have to maybe speculation zone. They have to be thinking about other big names. And I'm gonna also put out here too. I don't think A-Rod, if he was connected, if he was, again, it's not confirmed. There's hints that they maybe are tempting him. He wouldn't be the main guy. We're going to be like talking groups, not like, unless you're having someone like the Ilitch family that they can afford all this, A-Rod still would be like, okay, I need like maybe 2 or 3 partners in this, so this could be constructed. And this is still kind of far down the road. Really, I think we'll start hearing more owner stuff, possibly close to like championship time, maybe like playoff time in late June.
If we even get it until then.
It's amazing that this was even brought up for a little bit. So it just makes me go, oh crud, they really are kind of already putting feelers while they're getting a crunch bottom down below 80 days. A lot of stuff is going on behind the scenes that I'm surprised we're getting. And it's funny. These podcasts keep on revealing these nuggets. I find that hilarious. Credit to content creators for getting guys that, they're good with sharing the bits.
Right.
But it's amazing that that's how we're getting a lot of these behind the scenes pieces that aren't official